Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. I'm a former Royal Marines Commando from the United Kingdom. This is my coveted green beret that I have on my desk proudly, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about United States soldiers in action. There's some squad movements that I've been looking at. I wanted to identify what things you do similar to the British military, what things you do differently, and why. Now, when I worked alongside the United States Marines, actually a lot of the squad movements were quite the same, okay? There was a few differences that we did in terms of our loadouts, things we would carry on with on our equipment and stuff like that. But, you know, holistically speaking, we work very, very similar. But the rest of the US military, not too sure on how you guys operate. So we're going to review some squad movements, some fantastic footage I've found. It looks to be somewhere in the desert, potentially the Mojave Desert. I'm not too sure. It looks very similar to where I actually did a lot of my training when I was in the States. So I'm really looking forward to this, guys. Before we get into it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with all of your thoughts and your feelings on whether or not you agree with my opinion and of this review of squad movements, if it's similar to what you actually did in your time. And if you are a veteran or if you've served in the military anywhere in the globe, or are currently serving, let me know your thoughts, guys, because, you know, tactics and squad movements do differ globally, okay? For instance, when I was in the Middle East, I seen some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life, okay? Squad movement didn't really exist in certain parts of the world. So Jordan, for instance, you just... any kind of squad movement or company movement was done in an extended line, weapons pointed, and just walked towards the enemy, unloading barrel of rounds on people. So it was very different over there, okay, guys? But thanks for being here. Let's get straight into it.
What do you got? What do you got? Go.
Right, that first thing, if we'd seen an enemy, we'd shout something like contact front. But what we would do is, before we can get the words out, whoever sees enemy, they're going to get a couple of rounds down first. Then everyone knows it's contact front, okay? Contact front would take a couple of seconds to say. You could be dead by then, okay? Or someone could be killed within that time frame. So first thing first, enemy seen by anyone in the squad or section, as we would say, equivalent, we would... we'd get a couple of rounds down in that direction, aiming to take out the enemy. Then contact front. Everyone else would shout contact front as a result of the fire. Then we'd all get down. We'd take a couple of lifesaver steps, move into what we would call a baseline, which is just basically an extended line out towards the enemy, and we get a couple of shots off. So everyone is actively taking part in the engagement at that point, getting 6 or 7, 8 rifles, or maybe it's a GPMG gun or equivalent, so firing down range towards the enemy position. It's gonna do one or two things: kill the enemy, or it's gonna get the heads down because there's a barrage of fire. So it looks similar, but just the terminology is different. Okay, so he's going to support. It looks like his battle buddy. He's taking his kit off because it's obviously heavy. He wants to be maneuverable. And he's trying to build up a fighting position. All right, the other guy who's already in a fire support role, it looks like he's got like a light machine gun or something, getting shots down. So he's pushing up towards where the enemy fire is. They're taking the fight onto them. Pretty good stuff so far.
12 o'clock, 1 minute open, 150 meters. Gun! Hey, yo!
Okay, so he's on the net giving Zero or HQ or whatever you would call the equivalent in the US. Basically letting them know what's going on, and they're probably receiving orders to either carry on or do whatever they need to do. Looks like they're taking the fight to them. It's important to pass information backwards, especially when you're actively engaging in the enemy. Communication is key. The United States are very, very good at communicating, especially on radios and stuff like that. They are really, really good at what they're doing in terms of battle coordination and stuff like that. So it's not too dissimilar to what would what would happen in the United Kingdom, to be honest with you, so far, except the terminology. But, you know, we all speak one language on the battleground, and that's get the enemy out of there as quickly as possible. And we all know how to do that as trained soldiers. Okay, it looks like he's getting his bipod legs out for a heavier weapon to be mounted on there. That's why he's obviously took his day sack off. I would like to see him in a little bit of cover, utilizing that cover to be able to then move that tripod into position. But, you know, these things, it's easy to critique under situations as such. He's doing the best he can as quick as he can while the other guy's getting support and suppressive fire down.
Come on, get it up, get it up.
Right, okay, now you've got a bit of a defensive position up there. Not much, but they've got a couple of sandbags out. So that was his number 2 guy, effectively running up into a position which he deemed fit, and obviously able to get a gun in place to get active fire down on the enemy position. I like that. I like the fact that he's, you know, they're utilizing their number 2s effectively. It allows for a much quicker evolution to happen. All right. You're getting your number 2 battle buddy up, getting the bipod legs out and getting the gun up. So it is less risk to the actual gunner in that case, while other guys are getting suppressive fire down on the enemy target. Once that gun's in place, what I would like to see happen is maybe a left or right flank occur, whilst that heavy gun is getting suppressive fire down actively on that target. You know, maybe the lighter rolls can move off to the left, but I haven't actually seen this footage, so we'll see what you guys do. It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. I missed that sound.
Murphy, go rapid! Middle 2! Middle 2!
Right, so I'm guessing that's some form of smoke. I think he said left fire there. You know, if we were wanting to flank to the left, we'd have orders to do so by the section commander, and then, you know, we'd peel to the left while actively engaging the enemy still. Smoke is a good option because it distracts the enemy from your movement. So I think that's what's going to be happening here. They're going to be pushing left, which is obviously what I said they should do in the first place. So it's good to see. One thing to note, guys, on the evolutions like this, to us viewing it, it might seem that not everything's happening quite slow, but you know, when you're in the heat of it, these things are methodical. You got to go through them in the correct way, all right? And it seems like you should be rushing, but there's no rush, if that makes sense. As long as you're getting the enemy fire down, these things do take time.
Murphy!
Sir!
Ask the 240 team if they're good!
I'm not sure what's happening here. Unless they've threw smoke out and now they're going to do dead checks. That's all I can imagine is going to happen. They've obviously suppressed the enemy enough, believe that they're killed, pushing forward to do dead checks. We would do it slightly differently, but obviously they've got a lot of firepower there on this. So. Right, hang on. I want to see something there. See if he's cocked his weapon and put the safety catch on.
Murphy! Son!
right? Unless we've missed that bit during the filming. But you know, if with a heavy weapon like that, what I would like to see is obviously, you know, you're cocking that weapon system, and you're getting the safety catch on to be able to maneuver that weapon system safely across the battle space. Now, I understand that this is a live scenario, and you know, practice for realism and stuff. You got to be able to have that weapon ready to go. But you know, these things do go off sometimes. That's what I would do. I would like my safety catch on.
Wilson! Keep covering that flank towards your side!
Right, okay, so they've came under secondary fire just as about to push forward to... It looks like they were going to, you know, do dead checks, or maybe it's just advance forward in formation again. That's something, unless it's kind of hard to review when you're watching footage. You don't know where they're cutting it at. But what we would do in this situation, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. It's just what I would do. Looking at this, we've came under contact with the enemy. We understand where their position is. We know there could be in-depth positions behind that. So we'd get suppressing fire on the in-depth positions. We'd try to take out with an overwhelming array of fire through the baseline initially, and then we'd get to work straight away. You know, we'd either be pushing forward, we'd be left flanking or right flanking, or retreating, getting the hell out of there. But if we want to take the fight onto them, we'd do one of those three things: straight through the middle, left or right flank. Now, that decision's made, we'd carry on with that, and we'd fight on through that position until all enemies is taken out. Then we'd reorganize ourselves, reorg on the position, slightly past the position, and put ourselves in all-round defense, just in case there is a secondary contact, which has happened here. And then we can fight that fight from that position where we've just won. All right, we've won that ground. So a little bit different here, but there might be method to that madness. Okay, guys, again, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just a little bit different what we would do.
We're gonna be flanking New York! Traversino, we're moving!
Okay, so the flanking, as it seems, they're pushing to the flank. It looks like there's a fire team or potentially a section of men going there. Trust me, guys, it's hard as hell. Carrying all that weight it's not easy under those conditions. It's one of the hardest jobs you can do when you're doing your active fighting part. This is lung bursting. Anyone who's done it will understand where I'm coming from. And what you can hear in the background is an array of fire taking place. That's keeping the enemy's heads pinned down, you know, hopefully concealing the movement for these guys, keeping them, one, safe from view, and two, allowing them to put themselves into a tactical position to be able to flank the hell out of the enemy and effectively take them out. One thing that US is good at is marksmanship. Always have been, all right? I have no doubt that these guys are getting laser beam accuracy on these weapon systems. That's one thing that sets them aside from the rest, okay? Sets them above the rest is their marksmanship.
Converge! Hey, push up! Push up!
Similar type of, you know, communication there. All right, you're getting told to push up. Why? You don't know what to do all the time. Sometimes you need to take direction from someone who has a better sight picture than you, has a better understanding of the battle space. Tell him to push up. He knows where he's going to go. Find some cover. Get more accurate fire down. So it frees up the movement for the rest of the guys. It's good to hear the communication, guys.
Left fire, left fire, left fire.
Left fire. So I understand what he means by that. So the guys that's in the original positions getting heavy fire down. Obviously they're encroaching on their arcs now from the flank. So left fire, we would probably say, well, we would say switch fire. We would have a switch fire point to be able to take our weapon systems off the direct contact of the enemy, just slightly to the left, for instance, if you're right flanking, so the guys can push through safely without catching blue on blue friendly fire. That's pretty much what's happening here. I like it, guys. It's very similar to what we would do. So the beginning bit where I said we would normally push through left or right flank, this evolution is actually taking place now. So I got a bit ahead of myself there. This is actually exactly how we would do it.
Drop!
And what should happen here is that position just below my face here. They're going to push on through, maybe with a grenade or something, get a grenade in there, I would like to see, and then push through that position, push on through past a bound or two, and then we would shout reorg or regroup. Everyone would come in the safe way because of Afghanistan. We've learned our lessons with IEDs. You'd go the proven route, the route that guys have came from on the flank, and then you'd reorganize yourself very quickly, get ready to fight because there might be in-depth positions. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Hey! Stand by! Cover us!
Good copy.
Hey, Sergeant Mac! Push past the enemy and establish your bound right there! Hey, go ahead, bound up, stand by. Okay! Let's go! Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Hurry up, push up to the LOA, go. Roger, copy. Break them down, give me what you got right now, let's go.
Okay, so you call ship back confirmed, right?
Yeah, Roger, sir. Besides what he covered, yeah, the team leaders definitely got to go first, and the team leaders out here on the line, even though they were tired, they were still doing what they needed to do to check.
He looks like he's got chewing tobacco in his mouth there. I tried that stuff when I was over 29 pounds and it blew my head off. He's definitely got chewing tobacco, 100%.
Their guys and distribute ammo. Pick up, assault through, and then move, but don't like assault bound.
What I'm getting at is that you want to get around down. I know we're all like fading, so it's not
Yost.
good, Yost?
Homie, got.
As you can see, all the faces is bright red, sweating, looking really fatigued. It's one of the hardest things you can do, troops, okay? And I really mean that. I've done some hard things in my life, but, you know, carrying all that kit under that kind of adrenaline, real danger associated with this form of training as well. They look like they're using live ammunition, which has its own problems, okay? You can make mistakes, and mistakes do happen. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. So it's a real fatiguing adrenaline buzz and dump at the same time. It takes it out of you. That's why I've got to be as fit as you possibly can be, especially in an infantry role, all right? These guys, don't underestimate, are like international athletes in most cases, or at least they were the guys who are trained with, you know, the Royal Marines Commandos. We pride ourselves on being, you know, some of the fittest soldiers on the planet, and after doing these kind of things, I'm glad that I was at that standard, because you can't do it effectively. You can't be safe. You can't be as safe as you'd want to be, you know. You can't be as effective as you want to be. You can't carry your injured buddy off the battleground if you're not fit, if you're not strong, if you're not determined, if you haven't got strong willpower, if you can't overcome demons, if you can't overcome your negative thinking. You have to be positive-minded. You have to be so many good things. So when people give, you know, people a little bit of shit by saying that soldiers aren't very bright, it's one thing being bright in a classroom, being able to remember things and be able to write it down on a paper, having a good memory, for instance, but having that functional IQ, i.e. being able to understand the battle space and make common sense, good judgment decisions is a different kind of IQ, and it's an IQ that you learn only in these situations here. And I've seen a lot of bright people mess this up. I've seen a lot of dumb people do really, really well. Functional IQ is something that you should never underestimate, guys. And I found that out myself when I was doing this type of stuff. There's a different type of IQ here, okay? It's very alpha male. It's very, you know, nature, brawn, whatever you want to say. It's a tough old game. It really is.
So a lot of it comes down to you guys maintaining the situation awareness you had during day and just applying that at night, okay?
Be focused, be very methodical down to the individual soldier level on everything that you are doing out here.
Okay, if it means that you move a little bit slower because you're doing everything right and the way you've been trained, all right, then that is fine.
I love that kind of advice. This reminds me exactly of the pep talks that we used to have prior to doing these evolutions. It's lovely to see the United States doing the same stuff. All right, we work from the same blueprint, so to speak. Terminology is a little bit different, but it always has been. Okay, but the blueprint's the same. I've seen other European countries as well follow the same type of blueprint as this, and it works. It works really, really well. I like what I'm seeing here, guys, and that's sound advice. When you're working at night, things do change. The elements, can trick you a little bit. Nighttime can make you a little bit more nervous. In my case, it makes you a lot more nervous. Okay, because you've got the disadvantage of not being able to see. So yeah, things change a lot. But like he says, slow it down. It's better to slow it down and do it right, because mistakes can get people killed. Simple as that.
Yeah, I got you.
What up?
Oh, look at that. That looks awesome.
Open. Check it out. Watch. Get them guns up! Get up! Get them guns! Weapon down! Side bow!
Left side, down there!
Left side, stay down! Left side, down! Get down! Good fire left! Good fire left! Good fire left! Go, pick up! Holman!
Clear that firm.
Yeah, Holman, push out more!
Alright, guys, down. 10 minutes.
Press us down! Assaulting through. Let me see your lasers on target. Stay online.
Cover. Top side of this ridge line, you see my laser?
Sir.
Alright, you're gonna twist it down. The road is in the middle, is your primary. Right here, see the length of the road? Alright, and you're gonna cover it all the way up to here.
I got the EPW.
You all good? I'm on the EPW, sir. Move it, sir!
You two are going to go. See where my laser is?
See that, sir.
Fantastic, guys. US soldiers in action, squad movements. In all honesty, you could have put British soldiers in action, put British accents on that, and I would have thought that was us. Okay, very, very similar indeed. Just the terminology is a little bit different, but it means the same thing. We want the same outcome, and we tend to do things, the same way. I'm impressed with that for a number of reasons. The communication is key. You can tell that these guys, are trying their best to be able to get through this. It means a lot to them. Pride is a big thing in the US military. I like the marksmanship as well. Marksmanship goes without saying with the United States soldiers. They're just good at that anyway. All right, that's something that's ingrained in your society. I think it's a good thing in terms of having a better military capability. These squad movements were hard as it is for me to be able to partake in, but on top of that, I had to learn a weapon system I'd never fired ever in my life, a number of weapon systems that I'd never fired in my life, and become really, really proficient with that weapon system in a very few weeks, okay? From zero to being expected to be very, very professional with that weapon. And it was a steep learning curve, learning all these squad movements on top, or section movements, as we would say. It just made things that much harder. So we had a lot to think about, a lot to take in. Never underestimate how hard this type of stuff is, especially when you're watching as an aspiring soldier wanting to join, the US military or the British military, whatever it is. Don't look at it and go, yeah, it's just putting kit on and running. It's not, all right? That kit is being thought of. Your loadout has been methodically prepared. Everything's where you need it to be for efficiency, to be able to get it and utilize it when needed. There's a number of things going on in your head. You know, your weapon system, is it in the correct state to fire? Have all your magazines been prepped properly? Have they all loaded up properly? Are they in the right space? You know, how many rounds have you got left? How many rounds have you fired? Where do I need to be? When do I need to be there? It's hard stuff, and it's something that I've been through, and I understand it, and I am impressed with these guys. Okay, I'm impressed. If you like these reviews of this type of stuff, to be able to share my knowledge, then drop a comment below. Let me know, guys, and that's pretty much all we got to say on the matter. But stay around for another minute or two. I've got something that I want to explain to you guys. So I've been in touch with a talent manager, and for privacy reasons at this moment in time, I won't mention who that talent manager is, okay? And I've been given what I can only see as a challenge. It wasn't anything negative in any way. I've been told that my views need to be in and around 40 to 70,000 views per video before they'll even entertain me and take me under their wing as a talent management company. Why do I need a talent manager? Well, it's getting to the point now where I've got 250,000 subscribers, 36 million views on my channel. I need some direction because I've got a number of things that I want to do with my channel while I'm young enough to do it. I want to continue to do this type of stuff. I want some professional help and guidance to be able to make it better for you guys so you can have a better viewing quality and viewing experience. And two, I want to incorporate a journey on my YouTube channel. And it's a YouTube boxing journey. There's a number of guys out there who are doing very, very well on the YouTube boxing scene, and all of them have talent managers. So I can sit here and complain about not being in the mix with KSI and Jake Paul and Slim and all of these other guys, Deji and stuff. But, you know, I can't complain if I haven't got what they've got, and that's a talent manager. So I need that. And I've been given an ultimatum. I need to be able to prove to them that I have the viewership that I say I've got, and a loyal viewership, so that they can take that risk on and give me, you know, give me that a contract, I believe it would be, to be managed by them. So if you could share this content far and wide, if you could watch the content through, I'll never ask you guys for anything. That's why I don't ask at the beginning of the video. Probably is when it would be better for me to do so. I'm waiting, you know, to hopefully see if this thing can happen organically, because I know it can. All right, so one, challenge is accepted with regards to the YouTube boxing journey thing. I will do it. I just need the 40 to 70,000 views per video. And guess what? Ever since I've mentioned to you guys, the videos have just went like that. So it is working. So make sure you smash the like button, share these videos anywhere you can, all right? You might think that and I'm talking to you guys, you might think that my share doesn't count, but it does. Your share on Twitter or any other forum really does count and make a massive difference, because I'm checking the analytics out, and guess what, troops? People are sharing my videos all over, and it is working. So first things first, thank you for supporting the channel. If you want to support me a little bit more in this quest, share the content, like, share, and subscribe, and become a member. Press the join button. But other than that, if you are still here, drop a comment below with anything you want to help the algorithm, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you.